Joined this afternoon by softball head coach Jamie Smyth following an 8-2 trip down to Fort Myers, Florida. Coach, the best spring trip in your tenure here and the best start for the Monks since 1994. So really a great start for a team that was picked to win the GNAC for the third year in a row. Just kind of talk about overall your feelings about the trip.
We played really well right out of the gate. Sometimes we, it takes a few games to kind of get into the groove, but we started out with a couple of good solid wins early, and we get a lot of playing time for a lot of different players, and that's really the goal when you go down there is not necessarily to win all your games, is to kind of see what your team's made of and formulate lineups and that type of thing, and see what everybody can do, and that's what we did down there, and we were fortunate enough to win 8 of the 10 ball games, but it's more valuable for us to just get everybody time and see how everybody can contribute.
And basically right out of indoor practice, you guys are down there playing MCLA and come out with a 7-1 victory. Talk about that game a little bit. Kayla Vanna, 7 innings, no earned runs, 5 hits. Pretty good outing by a senior pitcher.
Yeah. Our pitching the whole trip was great, and that's a good reason why we won 8 ball games. I mean, it starts with your pitching, and we got great efforts from start to finish, and Vanna got us off to a great start through strikes, and that's what we're looking for from our pitchers, getting ahead of the hitters, throwing strikes, and letting the defense help out and do some work, and she did a great job.
And then come out with Ray-Marie Copeland in Game 2, and boy, she's just been a dynamo on you so far this season. 7-0 victory, and Copeland one hitter. Talk about that game.
After the game, I mentioned to her that it's probably the best ball game I've seen her throw down. At any time in her 3 years here, 2.5 years, and she just got ahead of the hitters, threw a lot of strikes, was really in full command of the ball game, and there was one solid hit that Teresa Hendricks laid out for and kind of had in her glove, and it bounced out, and it was a great effort by Teresa to try to preserve the no-hitter, but really outstanding performance by Ray, and she had a wonderful trip altogether. I mean, just didn't walk a batter in 3 games, and that's really what she's all about. She throws strikes, she mixes her pitches, she has a lot of movement, and really fooled a lot of hitters down there.
And finally getting some recognition from the conference, 2 Pitcher of the Week accolades to start the season, which is excellent to see. Day 2, good win over North Park, 5-4. Hendricks on the mound. Let's talk about this one. This one sounds like it was a pretty good game.
Yeah, it was we didn't do much at all in the first 5 innings, 5.5 innings. We made some errors early, gave them a couple runs, and were kind of in the hole down 4-0. And I spoke the other night. I really give Teresa a lot of credit because she kept it at 4-0. Kept North Park down and gave us an opportunity to come back in the 6th inning. I think we scored 4 in the 6th, and held them in the 7th, and then Lindsay let off with a triple in the bottom of the 7th and came home on a wild pitch, and it was a great come from behind win. But I think a lot of times in a game where things aren't going your way early on, it's easy to kind of mail it in, and now a 4-0 deficit becomes a 6-0 or an 8-0 deficit, and you don't have a chance to come back. But Teresa did, really didn't get much credit for it. The offense got credit for coming back, but Teresa did a great job of keeping it at a 4-0 lead for North Park, and eventually gave us an opportunity to come back. And it was a great win for the team. Anytime you can come from behind and win, it really gives you confidence, makes you feel like you're never out of a ball game.
And your team kept rolling. The very next game, 4-0 win over Delaware Valley. Copeland again, 7 innings, no earned runs, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, and the hitting just seems to be timely. as well. And Copeland's a good outing, but only 6 left on base. A lot of single-digit numbers left on base in these games.
Yeah, another great outing. I think we had a couple of 2-out hits, drove in runs, and that's demoralizing for teams sometimes when sometimes you strand runners with 2 outs. It gives the other team momentum, but I think we had a couple of 2-out hits in that ball game, drove in runs, and Delaware Valley was a good club. They were scrappy. They had some hitters. The pitcher was good, kept us down, but it was really a great outing by Ray and some timely hitting.
Next game against Wheaton, Illinois, kind of took one on the chin a little bit there. Pretty good program, but I think you might have a good vantage point on this game.
Yeah, got down early again with some errors. Made 8 errors in the ball game, which is was tough to watch. But we battled back. It was 4-0 Wheaton. We got 3 runs, I think, to make it 4-3. Might have been in the 3rd or 4th. But they're a real good team, and if you keep making mistakes, which we did, it's tough to overcome, and we just dug ourselves into a big hole. Didn't help out Vanna much. She actually threw the ball pretty well, but you're not going to win many ball games when you make that many errors, and a team like Wheaton that's really good is going to make you pay for them, and they did. And that's one of the games that you might have 1 or 2 or 3 of those a year that you kind of just have to forget about. And fortunately, it was the first game of the day, so that was our conversation after the game. Not much we can do about that performance. Let's concentrate on the next game.
True rarity for your program, a mercy rule loss, and the stat that stands out: 11 runs scored by the opponent, but only 1 was earned. As you said, 8 errors. Bounce right back though, and you hand Elms College a mercy rule loss. Very next game, and 10-2 win over the Blazers. Laura Jordan, sophomore pitcher on the mound, and the offense, the bats came out swinging. Talk about that one.
Yeah, that was Elms coach Cheryl Congdon is a good friend of mine. I've known her all 16 years. I've coached here, and even prior to that, when I was an assistant. Great lady. Was happy to see them on the schedule. We hadn't played Elms in a long time. She's been there forever, 25, 30 years. And it was just great to match up with her and catch up with her. And we started early. Their pitcher walked a few and put some runners on base, and we had a big hit by Teresa, I think, in that game to get the ball rolling, a 3-run triple, and just kept going from there. And Laura did a great job in her first start. Sometimes it's hard when you're sitting for long innings when your team's scoring, but she did a good job of keeping us in the ball game and finishing the ball game out as well. It's her first full outing since her injury last year, and we were watching her pitch count, making sure she was hanging in there, and she did, and finished the game off fine. And I think that's the most innings she's pitched at the collegiate level, six full. So
yeah, 6 full, 3 hits allowed, no earned runs with 3 strikeouts. After a day off, right back at it down at Fort Myers, 7-1 win over Albright. Talk about some of the things that come into play from a coach's standpoint following a day off.
Yeah, day off, and we had played 6 games afternoon and evening. This was our first 9 a.m. game, so coming off a day off and you're in the vans early, 7:30 in the morning. These young ladies are they know how to get prepared for a game, and they were, and we had a little trip over there to Cape Coral, and got off to a good start again, and got good pitching, and as I mentioned earlier, anytime you get good pitching, you have a chance in any ball game you're in, and we were able to come away with a good win over Albright.
And then the next game that day, followed a 6-2, run into a tough pitcher from Bethany Lutheran in a 3-1 loss. Looks like she was pretty solid for them. 9 strikeouts. I think that was a trip high for your team. Tough game.
Yeah, they were a good club. They had a lot of good players. It's tough to scout. You look at stats from last year, and their record wasn't great, and on paper they didn't look strong, but they were a good team, and they had a pitcher that had a a good rise ball, and it was a tough pitch to lay off of, and you know, our discipline wasn't quite there, and we swung at some balls that were out of the strike zone and took some balls that were in the strike zone, and yeah, I mean, just a really great performance by their pitcher, and sometimes you run into that down here, and yeah, that's what I said after the game, is that you know, we didn't play badly. We just you know, we got shut down by a pretty good pitcher that had some movement and had us off balance quite a bit.
And a game that took only 1 hour to play, when you run into a pitcher like that in a low-scoring game, those innings can just fly by. Final day, looking to go out with a bang, and the Monks did just that. 4-2 win over our tough Franklin Marshall team. Copeland yet again, 7 innings, 2 earned runs off 6 hits and 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts, a career high for Copeland. Just kind of talk about her outing again, and to get a nice quality win over Franklin and Marshall.
We played them, I think it was 2 years ago, and really good club. They're out of I think Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A lot of big kids, a lot of good hitters. Coach is a really nice man, does a good job with the team, and that's exactly what they were again. And it was a good win for us. You know, I was anxious to see how we'd play against them, you know, based on the history of a couple years ago. And yeah, I mean, it was really a great effort by Ray again. Had them off balance through strikes. 10 strikeouts is, I think, even if you asked Ray, she would admit it's a rarity for her. But she just had, you know, had quite a few pitchers working. Rise ball was working well. Curveball was working well. A lot of swings and misses, and a lot of you know, soft outs, which we needed against a quality team like that.
And then your club goes out and finishes the trip with a 7-0 victory over Polytechnic of New York, with Teresa Hendricks on the hill, 2-hitter, 4 strikeouts, another dominant outing by one of your pitchers, and had a trip 3-for-4 with 3 RBI. Just a big day for her. Talk about the importance of finishing a Florida trip on a winning note.
It was great to see those 2 ladies you just mentioned. I mean, Teresa finish up strong with a great outing on the mound, and you know, Heather had a lot of good at-bats all week long, and put a bunch of them together in this particular game, and found some gaps with some of the balls she hit, drove in quite a few runs. And you know, Polytechnic's another team we played a couple years ago. I think we beat them 4-3, but another good club. Not many weaknesses. Great institution right in Brooklyn. You know, high academic institution as well. Coach is a great guy, and it was a fun game to play in. You know, we caught them early. I think it was only their 2nd game down here, so I think we might have had a little advantage there, where it was our 10th game. But nonetheless, it was a great way to finish the trip out, playing two good teams on our last day, and coming away with victories in both games.
10 games into your season, exactly a quarter of the way through. What have you learned about your team so far? What do you think? Maybe some strengths, some weaknesses, things that have surprised you?
Well, I think that you know, they do a great job of getting along and really playing as a team, and that's what it's all about. You know, they're very unselfish. I saw a lot of that down there, and you know, I mean, our strengths I had mentioned earlier. I mean, we've got some, you know, a bunch of pitchers that can all step in and contribute. We're not just a one pitcher team. So I would say our depth on the mound is a strength. You know, and just you know, a great will to win, and you know, we try to instill the fact that we're never out of ball games until the last out is recorded. And you know, I pointed to the North Park game as an example of that, but you know, I really, like I said earlier, I love the team. I think we're in good shape, and we're, you know, we definitely have things to work on and continue to improve in areas, you know, defensively and stuff like that. But that's part of the value of the Florida trip, is to figure out, you know, what the things are that you need to work on, and then come back into the gym and work on them and try to improve and try to get better each and every day.
And it sure looks like Danielle Schufelt, your senior center fielder, is off to a great start. Last year didn't put up the numbers that she's accustomed to, but this year looks to be right where she left off after her sophomore year. Speak to her trip a little bit, our recent GNAC Player of the Week honoree.
Yeah, great. She was just a pleasure to coach, a wonderful young lady. And last year she struggled out of the gate, but a player of her caliber is eventually going to turn it around. And I was just glad to see her get off to a great start. I think she was 18 for 36, batted .500, stole 7 bases, scored 13 runs for us, and couldn't ask much more from her on the trip. And she's a leader on the team, one of our captains, leadoff batter, really sets the tone for our team. And I was real happy for her personally to see her have a great start to the trip, and hopefully that continues. I'm sure it will, knowing her.
Of course, senior Heather Tripp, junior Lindsay Moore also had good trips with the bat. I'm curious to find out what you guys do traditionally on your off day down there.
Variety of things. My family's down there with me, so usually we, go to either 2 years ago we went to the zoo, might go to the beach, shops around the area. Some of the players kind of scatter, their parents are down there, so usually Tiffany, our trainer, will take a load of them to the beach. Fort Myers Beach is nearby. Various things. The Red Sox are down there playing, so a handful may try to catch a Sox game. The Twins are down there, right at Hammond Stadium. So a lot of leisure, a lot of poolside time. But
so kind of a laid back, not necessarily a planned out day, but players get a chance to recharge.
It's their day. We're down there. We play 10 games in 5 days, and they deserve to rest, relax, and do whatever they want on their day off. And we just make sure that they get in early enough to get some rest and get ready to roll for the following day.
Awesome. Well, Coach, congratulations on a great trip, and thanks for your time. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Corey.